Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Ballogy. Manage and measure your players' skill development and increase accountability year-round utilizing the Ballogy app. Boost inter-squad competition with drills backed by the National High School Basketball Coaches Association, including a 40-shot Ballogy skills assessment. Please visit ballogy.com/teams for information on how you can provide this resource for your team. We already heard a little bit about your culture, those 3 C's, and I'm going to try. You got the character, the classroom, and the court.
Yes.
Those 3 C's that you got to take care of. So you obviously, and really want to applaud you too for being at one place for a long time. That's hard to do, right? Hard to do right now. And to build it the way that you did, to have some ups and downs early on, but to kind of start from the bottom up with those junior high kids and invest in culture. And so I'm just really thankful for guys like you that do that. How do you think, or how do you feel like culture drives performance of your program?
Well, a big part of culture is like the way you do things. It's huge. And I mean, it's like this morning, it's simple. We had a fire alarm at the end of our athletic period. So I'm rushing kids in, like, hey, we got to hurry up, get in, get dressed, and we got to get a break. That's culture. That's culture. That could easily be done. And my assistant coaches, like everybody's running in the gym to get a break. So now run back out the gym to get dressed. And it's easy to be in your way or, one more thing to do, but that was more important. And one thing we do when we talk about brothers, and a lot of people, that's the thing, oh, we're brothers. Well, that's true. And I talk about your brother having a bad day. So you never know when your brother's having a bad day. And at the end of this whole thing, we all want to hear 2 words: well done. Well done. So we go through at the end of practice, workouts, whatever, weights, anything. You have to shake everybody's hand and say good job. That's it. Because that may be the only attaboy that person gets that day. It may be the only attaboy I get that day. Because you know as well as I know, I can get bombarded with an email and now my mind is on, man, I did not mean to send that message to this family, this kid, and and so that culture piece is what keeps us tight and bonded about the way we do everything. We go through the whole process of, I take a few words and ask and put together a Google form or whatever, and they have to tell me what's important to them. And the 5 words that win, that's our important words. Trust, competing, whatever they are, execution. And then we sit down and we define those words. What does that look like on the court, off the court? And that becomes our core values for that year.
Nice. Yeah.
And so we really and we make little cards, and you got to stick it we write their name on the back of the card, laminate it. And if I find that card, there's a problem. That means you don't care about us because you don't care about this card. And they have them, and we do card checks. So they really buy into those things. And it's not me making them up, because as coaches, we know, like, hey, we're going to have these core values. This is how we're going to do it. Well, you know what? Empowerment is a great tool. Kids know. They know. Like, they know what a team should look like. They know all this stuff. Make them say it and own it collectively. Yeah. And when they do that, that's our culture. Like, this is who we are this year. And then we try to set standards to that. Like, okay, being on time is at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And what's the course of action if you fail at any of that? And we don't, I really tell my kids, and this is one of the most important things I share with them. My freshmen, I am 37, 38 years removed from the seat they stand in. 20 years removed from my freshman. And 30, from my varsity, my juniors and seniors. I said, what I did in 1986 and 1983 through 86 is totally different what you have today. And I want you to understand, I am trying to meet you there. I need you to understand I'm old school to some degree, and you meet me too. That's what this family is about. And we market family to death. Like a lot of people say it, but when you ask my kids, they believe it. And I don't know if you saw my post. I went back and polled former players and asked what their experience was like. And I posted that. So it's like me doing a survey because I need to know what I need to work on. And I posted it, and lucky they were all good. And I didn't hold any of them out because I need to know what to fix. And I'm probably too honest sometimes, too open. But I think people need to know who we are, and we're okay to share it. And so our culture, like that is so important. I had a kid, he works landscaper, all his customers in Highland Park. So he's doing well. Never finished playing basketball. 10th grade, past the 10th grade. One day he shoots me a message saying, Coach, everybody asks me why I work so hard. And I got it from you because all I can ever remember you doing is showing up every day and working hard. And I want to thank you for that because I get it.
Yeah.
And he never finished playing. I didn't know he moved in from somewhere. His parents moved him over to get him out of his current situation, which he was headed down the wrong path. And like he gets here, he magnet to the same people. But we modeled something for him as a program that he's using in life. And he has 2 kids. It was fun. His kid came to camp. So I got to see his kid, so it's just one of those things. Like, and then to hear from him like a year before that, it's just been awesome. So our culture drives a lot of I say personal success. And I think families feel comfortable. I've had our culture encompasses everybody. We go 5 teams deep. We have a JV2. A lot of schools don't have that. I don't get an extra coach for it. But my coaches understand our mission. Our mission is to create men.
Yeah.
As well as win games. And at that JV2 team, most of the time, those kids either figure it out, but I don't let them quit. Like, no, there's a place for you. Don't quit. Because most kids at JV, they can't go to work at JV2. And so if I let you just go, you're going to go somewhere. And not on my watch. So I keep them. And then when they decide to quit, we have a long sit. I'm not going to change your mind, maybe, but
yeah.
I need to know what's the plan. You have a job. Have you start filling out these applications? Well, you can't do that until you show me some applications. Like, we need to do more than just quit. Moving on to do better things or something different, it's not quitting. And so that's our culture. We hold each other. Like yesterday, I had a kid, and I was like, I'm working with we have, first 10 days, we got to figure out who can stay in the period, so many numbers. And so I got a kid across the gym. He's working with he's a keeper. And I just run over to him. I said, is that you I keep hearing yelling over here? I said, I've looked over 4 times and seen somebody yelling. He said, yeah. I said, that's leadership. You're over here cheering your guys on, and I can hear it way over there. I said, keep it up. But I made a big thing out of it because people need to know we're celebrating. Like, this is culture. I'm loud when we're messing up. I'm loud when we're having fun. It is fun, man. Like, this place, the kids I've had, it's just fun. We lost, and strong culture, this is what strong culture does for you. We lost last year to North Crowley. One of my best players towards ACL and halfway through district. So, and you never know, like all our sets and basically everything we were doing was led into the players that were playing. And when he went down, I kind of realized, like, he was inbounding the ball. He was the center of the press break. He was the center of the zone. He was also the leading rebounder. He was the shot changer for our leading shot blocker to block it. And I was like, whoa. So we kind of had to try to retool a lot.
Yeah.
And we played North Crowley, and they great team. They made it, and we lost. And it's been such a fun ride that the guys, thought they were crying because they were losing, because they lost. And I said, guys, I'm sad too, I'm not sad because we lost a game. I'm sad because this ride is over. So you got to think about who we are and what we've done. I mean, I got the only 3 players in school history ever been in 3 consecutive playoffs and played in all the playoff games, major minutes. They're in this room. Back-to-back 20-win season. They're in this room. I said, but more so than that, think about it. We had fun. I said, you remember when we went to Cowboy Stadium? Because instead of basketball, we did tour the stadium, just like show them. And so we go, and I got a kid. They get to the podium part, and they're acting like they're giving interviews. And so I'm just asking questions that they're stomach. So one of them, he's smart enough to slow me down. He says, hey, coach, we doing this for real. You got to raise your hand. I said, fair enough. So I raised my hand. He says, yes, the ball gentleman in the back. And he hits me with that. And we all just fall out laughing. But then I talk about that at the end of the game. I say, and everybody laughs again. I say, that's what we're made of. We never forget these times. This game, it's just that. Yeah. But the time we've had together, these moments of laughter and joy can't be erased. And that's what we've done it together. We didn't dislike each other and still won. We loved each other and were successful. And that's the biggest thing is that what way we act with each other. And, taking time out to talk to young guys about what they don't know how to process. I don't care how much we want them to be adults. Their brain's still not completely formed until 25. Like it's just.
Yeah.
And I had 2 players, they were jealous of each other because they had 2 different skill sets and they could play well together, but they kept trying to do what the other one was doing. And they were just bickering all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And they're like, I said, you're jealous of me. I say, you hear me compliment him about this, so now you're trying to do it. Then you hear me compliment him about this, and now you're trying to do that. Hey, it's okay. You work together. You're the yin and the yang to this thing. It's okay. And after that, it was cool. But they didn't know what was going on internally, emotionally. And part of our culture stuff is sitting in a classroom and talking. Like first day, we do boot camp every year, and it's nothing but physical. It's supposed to be physical conditioning. But last year, first day, everybody had to tell what they wanted to do for a living, past basketball, and then they had to know what each other wanted to do. And that was part of boot camp. So we all knew what each other wanted to do. And I was surprised. I had lawyers, I had politicians, I had aviation guys, pilots, chefs, like just they were already aware of it. And some didn't. I know. And I need to help you figure this out because you're almost 18. And the biggest saying, when you ask me immature, I go 18 or 8. You tell me which one you closer to.
I like that.
And then when I say 18 or 8, and then they say 18. All right, let's go. That's my expectation is to act like you're 18. And so a lot of that stuff we do in the classroom, we go through 5 dysfunctions of a team, and then that's one of them. And kind of alternate it back and forth. And then we do another, just some questions I got from Jeff Jansen stuff. But I type it up and like, this is I typed it all up and have it in format. And I ask them, put it in Google form now so they can answer it and I can dissect it. And we go in the classroom and none of the stuff has to do with sports.
Yeah.
It talks about what were your elementary years like? So now that you're talking about, well, I had one kid, he was obsessed with working out. I never really knew why. Well, he was a chubby kid when he was in elementary school. It answered the question that the other kids didn't realize, but I always was curious. Had kids that they talk about what's a hard time for you. And the amount of kids that have to cope with divorce now, that they can say it in a room openly and the way they felt, they become vulnerable with their teammates. We're talking about this stuff before we talk about the core value stuff, because this stuff gets them talking.
Yep.
And I remember one year we were dropped to 2 and 3 in district, I think, and it was like this. Everybody was like jumping ship. And after the game, we played, and I was like, "You tell what can you do to make us better? What each player? How can you help us?" And they stated it, and they owned it. And by God, they did it. And we lose to Odessa Permian in the second round. But it's one of those things where if we don't become vulnerable and talk about our lives, we now shut down when we talk about what business is. So now we're more of a family because we're talking about stuff that's not basketball, but really just life. And now we understand so much. Like I watched a kid say, kid was just struggling because he's always trying to do too much. And in one of those sessions, one of the things we do is so on the sheet, I'll go, you have to tell me something positive about a player and something they need to work on.
I like that.
Each player has to say that about their teammate. I don't tell them who says what. I just give them a composite list of this is what you appreciate it for. These are the things they say you should probably work on. And this is your team say. None of this is mine. And it's straight your team. And so they take that. And when they see this good stuff, some of the stuff they wish they were recognized for, and they're like, oh man, they do see this in me. And I can see I need to work on that. But I've been so busy trying to get them to see this one piece they already seen. And it just changes. And sometimes the kid, he'll say, oh man. And all of a sudden the kids quit doing too much because he knows he's accepted and appreciated in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
These are little things. So now that you appreciate it, you'll jump in front of somebody's way and take a charge. You'll dive on the floor for a loose ball. You know what? You'll do something crazy. Like you'll go 3 rows up for that sucker, man. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And once they get ready to bleed for each other, it's pretty much win or lose. The job is pretty much done because now you go to work every day. You have I'm a practice plan guy. A lot of people aren't, but I go 5. We go sequence. We do some stuff called groovy game. We have these stuff, and we go through it all. And I put X amount of time. Some days I'll spend longer on it, and some days I'll, cut it short. But they are in control of that. And some years we can get through a practice, and like I think this past year we were getting through practices probably under 2 hours because they were going hard every rep, getting it right, concepts. But it was a heavy senior team, so that makes a difference too.
Yeah.
And some years, the year before that, it took us 2 hours and 30 minutes because we had to address 1 or 2 players every practice just to refocus and spend time with that. And so that's just part of culture, though. To me, it's like when you can go through your practice, everybody's working hard. When you got to start talking so they can breathe because they're just overdoing it, you got a good culture, man. And the culture is on our campus. It's Texas, it's football, but on our campus, our administration loved our players because they have loving personalities and attitudes and stuff, but at the same token, they're about business. And they're funny. Like they're just humorous kids, but they're respectful and they love
you allow them to be that. You set up that culture to allow that. So I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, be you, man. Like I'm not, and it's fun. We laugh about it. Like I'll send like a meme, bruh. Are you kidding me? Like the whole and we laugh about it, but we have fun with it. Yeah. And it's no disrespect. You be you. And like I always tell them, like they hate when I go into their verbiage. That's cap, bro. You're trying too hard, coach. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Is that cap or not? And they're like, yeah, that's pretty. Like they'll work with me. So,
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.